Hello, today I'd like to talk to you about my psychiatric hospital stay experience. It was a voluntary stay. I was only in there for about 3 days, but I will tell you a little bit about how it went and what it was like. Disclaimer, this was my personal experience. Everyone's experience is different, every hospital is different, and just because they did something a certain way at the hospital I was at, I can't guarantee it'd be the same for everyone. So this is just kind of a little, I know for me, I get really anxious and it's really hard for me going into a situation I know nothing about. So just hearing a little bit about what it's like in there might be helpful for some people. That's kind of why I'm making this video. I was in the hospital in 2015, so a few years ago. So I am going to try my best to remember and be as accurate as possible, but obviously it was 2 years ago and I may not get everything exactly right. I guess I'll just start off from the beginning. My friend took me to the hospital. We went to the ER. It was some time like midnight or sometime around then, and we went into the ER and told the people at the front desk. My friend actually told them that I was suicidal, and we went out and waited in the waiting room for a little bit. And then the doctor came and asked me some basic questions, took all my vitals, the regular normal stuff, and then they took me back to a room. They had a counselor come talk to me. The counselor asked if she could also talk to my friend alone, and I said yes. So she talked to her, and they basically just asked, how I'm feeling, if I'm feeling suicidal, if I feel like hurting myself, what brought me in, all this stuff. Pretty basic questions. And then she said basically either we could do outpatient or inpatient. I'll leave it up to you. If we have a bed, we can do inpatient if you want. And I said okay, we can do inpatient. And they took me, after like a long wait, they took me back into the psychiatric ward area, and we did a whole bunch of paperwork, and then they gave me a room. I was in a room by myself. It was just basic room, window, bathroom. So I had on like this, just the hospital gown, but it was like, it was not fitting me, and it had like this big hole in it, and it was just not comfortable. So I was looking over the papers, and they said on the paper, it said you could have 3 articles of clothing. Later they told my friend they actually meant you could have 3 outfits, but that's not what the paper said. So anyways, I called my friend. There was a phone out on the desk that we could use whenever we wanted to. You just really weren't supposed to use it for a long period of time or like all day. And also all calls would come through to that phone too, and someone would just pick it up and be like, oh, you want this person, and they'd go find that person. So like it was just kind of like an open phone area. I called my friend, asked her if she could bring me boxers. At that time, I was still wearing compression stuff, so I asked her to bring me a sports bra and a t-shirt. So they gave me pants. They gave me like blue hospital pants, so I just needed a shirt and boxers, and I wore all that. My friend eventually brought that and dropped it off, so that was really great because I was much more comfortable once I got that in. Basically how the day would work is they'd wake us up in the morning for breakfast or group. I can't remember which we had first. We had like 4 group sessions, or like 3 group sessions in the room, and then one at the end of the day where we kind of talk about how many groups we went to and all that stuff. We had 4 or 5. I can't remember. We had 4 or 5 meetings throughout the day where we'd all meet up together, and basically in the group we just kind of talk about our goals for the day and kind of stuff like that. There were like 2 little. One of them looked like kind of maybe someone in training, and then another head counselor or whatever. I don't know what their job was or what their title was, but they would come to help us and talk to us and run group. So we had all the nurses and the psychiatrist and the person who ran group. So you'd see the psychiatrist every day for a very short period of time though, maybe like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. and you'd see him once a day, and they just kind of come call you throughout the day. We'd have 3 meals a day and a snack. So we'd have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack. And we for meals, we'd basically go to the where we eat. We'd go up and get our tray, bring it back, eat, go put our tray back, and then when we put our tray back, we'd get a little sheet where we get to pick. We'd have options for the next meal, and you could pick what stuff you wanted and what stuff you didn't want. They'd come around and give you your medicine, whatever medicine you were taking. The psychiatrist put me on medicine while I was there, so the first day I was there, he was like, okay, we'll put you on Zoloft. And so they would come around and give me my Zoloft, and you just take the little cup of water, take the pill, and open your mouth, show them that you swallowed it, and that was how that worked. One day, like the last day I was there, we got to like paint little bird houses, so that was a little change. It was mostly, I mean, we had a TV. Oh, we had visiting hours. Every day we had like a couple hours that were visiting hours, and how it worked in that hospital was my friend could come visit. I could have one visitor at a time. So like I could have 2 visitors, but they couldn't be in the room at the same time. We did have levels and stuff, but I was on the same level the whole time, and I didn't really look into that. So like for the level I was on, I could have 1 visitor at a time. The weekends, you didn't have group. I wasn't there for the weekend, but I know during the weekend there was no group, and you don't meet with the psychiatrist, but they have a lot longer visiting hours, and like I think 2 visiting hours on the weekends, 2 chunks of visiting hours. So that's kind of how that went. I mean, the food wasn't terrible, to be completely honest. For breakfast, we had like eggs, bacon, the classic. Lunch, we had salad, we had sandwiches. It was pretty basic stuff. We would have like graham crackers for snacks and stuff like that. I'm very much the kind of person who asks stuff, so I asked basically if I wanted to request to get out, how that would work, and she said you could request to get out, and then they have 72 hours for the psychiatrist to see you, and if the psychiatrist sees you within those 72 hours and determines that you're not ready to go out, then you might not be able to, but for the most part, you request, you got 72 hours, you're going to be out of there unless you're... For what I was in, like self-harm, threats of suicide, no attempt or anything, I wasn't on a very high risk level, so yeah, I don't know. That's just a little like summary, some stuff that happened during my psychiatric stay. It didn't flow as much as I expected it to in my head, but I just hope that gave you a little bit of what the experience was like. That was my psychiatric hospital stay experience. I also was one time handcuffed and taken to the hospital, to the psychiatric hospital, which I might make a video about soon. I didn't end up staying. I didn't get admitted, so it's going to be a shorter video, but I can explain a little bit what that experience was like and what happens when the cops are called on you for being suicidal or something like that. So yes, that's the one time I was hospitalized, though, 2 years ago, and that was voluntary, so I was not handcuffed and taken to the hospital. Yes, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below, and I will try my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you all for watching this video. Stay strong, stay safe. I love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.